welcome back to the Overnight Coffee channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this primitive style rabbit crate. It's made completely out of paper. It is a printable that you can find in my late night coffee store on Etsy. It features a beautiful vintage rabbit illustration, and it's made to look like distressed wood, like an old crate would. It even has, and if you can see it, the dovetail look to it on the different edges. You can see that's how they used to make them way back when they used to make crates. And here is the bottom, and it looks old and distressed like wood, but it is made exclusively of paper. So let's get started. Before I start on making the crate, I'm going to show you what I use. I use scissors, I use glue, and this is craft glue that I've watered down slightly just so I can get it through this knob, little nozzle. And I like this nozzle because I can pinpoint where I can put my glue. I use an instrument that I used with clay as sort of a way to really crease those edges, makes them nice and sharp, but you can certainly use your fingers. And then I also have a pencil that I use in case any white shows, because sometimes when you're creasing, the fibers do come up sometimes from the paper, or when you fold, it may show a little bit. So I have that on hand in case I have to go in and blend, but that's basically it. So, and all these instructions are on my printable, so that's what you can use if you get it. I've already cut the printable out, and I see I need to cut a little more white off of this before we get started. There we go. So we have our printable all cut out. We have the bottom is also cut out already, and again, it came from this page. And what I'm going to do first is I am going to crease all of these lines. You can see that there's lines that go back and forth and up and down. I just want to make a really, really nice crisp crease on each of those. So I crease it over, and I crease it back again because that breaks up the fibers in the cardstock, and that's what I use. I do use cardstock. You can use paper, but it can really make it a little more flimsier and a little bit more difficult to make the folds. And cardstock, I find, makes a really nice sturdy type of box. Anyway, back to folding. I just simply crease and crease back again. And later when I'm done creasing, I will take my creasing tool and really make sure those creases are nice and crisp, because it makes it easier for assembling the box. Back and forth, just making sure I get all of those lines nice and creased. One more over here, and one more right here. Okay, and then, like I said, I take my creasing tool and I'll just go back and just really push down. You can certainly use any other kind of flat edge that you might have to help you crease. Some people may use a ruler, but your fingers will definitely work. I just happen to have this on hand, and so I use it. Okay, so now we're nice and creased. We're going to hold this up like this where it's horizontal, and I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to cut these little squares on the side right here, just this a little line right here. Just clip that up and go right up to this line right here and right up to that line. Those are the tabs that will go inside the box to hold the box together. All right, so now I get my glue out, and what I'm going to do is just put a little glue on each of these tabs right here. Blend it in. It doesn't take a lot of glue. It's not a heavy project. And then I just fold those in and I fold that in and bring that up and square up the sides for the crate. Folding that. And then what I like to do, just give it a nice smoothing. Sometimes I'll take my tool right here and I'll just make sure that all that glue adheres right there. Perfect. And I just want to make sure I've got a nice sides right here. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do the same to this side. Right here, just a little glue and a little glue right here. Fold them in like this. Put them towards the inside of the box. Right there. Great. Making sure that the sides are squared. And then I just want to pinch that, making sure that's really nice and squared up on that side. You can see the tabs on the inside here. That looks good. Perfect. And then I just take this and then I just kind of, just to make sure the glue is nice and adhered. All right, so that's the basic shape of the box right there. So then I take my bottom piece and just put a little glue on the bottom. Doesn't take a lot. And I just put that in, form it into the bottom right there. Perfect. Fits nice and well. Just kind of use my fingers or I use my tool, whatever works best. And so that's the bottom of the box. And then I take a little glue. I do the short sides first, put a little glue on that, and then I just fold them down inside to the inside of the box. See, I fold that down into the inside of the box, and then I take this side and I put a little glue on that, and I fold that down to the inside of the box. If you want, you can take your fingers or an instrument and just kind of let that glue adhere. Nice square inside. So we're almost done. And then I put a little glue here, making sure it goes over the top right there. Perfect. Awesome. Okay. And just, okay, and then I push that down. That's great. That is really good. And the great thing about this project is it's supposed to look old. So if you make any errors or if there's some little, defects or something as you're making it, like I can see because I'm making this so fast, I have a little bit of white. The beauty of this, because it's an old distressed box, is that you can cover it up, or in fact it looks kind of old. I see I cut a little further than I wanted. Not a problem. We just put a little glue there right here, just attach that, squeeze it, and it's all back together. And like I said, I keep my pencil handy at the end so that if I see any white, which I see some right here, because again I was going pretty quickly, I'd put a little bit of white down there, blend that in. I don't see any more white, but on the corners here where the fibers of the cardstock may have kind of come up, I just put that there. Pinch here, pinch there, little camouflage on the corners. And then what I like to do too is put a little camouflage, maybe if you see the white from your cardstock over here, blend it with your fingers, blend it with the pencil if you see any more. And really, it works to make sure that your box looks uniform and made out of, makes it look like it's made out of wood. So there you go. There is a cute little rabbit box that you can display anything in. I've seen little miniature pictures. You could fill it with little flowers, little miniature flowers. You could put miniature quilts or little miniature books or anything that you'd want. And the printable actually comes with one that says carrots, so it matches. I've actually got other printables as well. If you like this style, if you are making a primitive kind of dollhouse or a cabin or a farmhouse, these would look perfect. This one's a little smaller, and this one would look great in the middle of a table or maybe on top of a little hutch on the floor with some books or blankets for your other miniatures. So there you go. This is the rabbit miniature crate box. So thank you for joining me again. Check out my other videos on overnight coffee, and I will see you again.